Hi there, Michael Andre Ford, your American Angel Intuitive in San Antonio, Texas, here to just chat with you about angels, letting go, consciousness, having more fun in life, walking a smoother path, and getting any answers to any questions and much more. This is all a lot easier than it's going to seem. It can seem pretty daunting that you could just suddenly start walking an easier path or that you could have any answers to any topics. It's all private to you. All languages, all dialects are spoken. Imagine being able to get help for career, for relationship advice, for parental advice, for where to just go on vacation the next time you want to have an amazing time. The universe is far bigger than anyone's allowing for. It's just bigger than we're going to ever be able to grasp through the mind, through thinking. If I had to tell you one thing today, it's simply that love itself is the fabric of the universe. That you'll have to trust at least this much on. The rest of it is pretty cool because folks have been doing this over 10 years. They do it in groups. So I try to step aside as fast as possible. I help a person get out of the brain, out of structure, out of all their thinking, rigidity, what they know that precludes possibility, which is pretty much 90% of our knowing. That doesn't mean ditch what you know right away, but to do basic listening, you can't be up here in any way. You just have to be here, and you have to be at the level of the consciousness of a pen. Can you listen? That's it. You put your questions, put your personal needs, get reassurance, get some humor, encouragement, get ideas, creativity from angels. There's 100 plus angels. You can meet your guardian angel. You can meet this life stage angel. You can meet your kids' guardian angels. You can meet your dog's guardian angel, your cat's guardian angel. You can meet the angel that fished you out of the pond that day. You can meet guides, religious, non-religious guides. They're all unconditional love. Mother Teresa, Chogyam Trungpa, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Kuan Yin, Sai Baba, figures from India, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, Lakshmi, Rama, Gandhi, Einstein. It goes on and on and on. But you can also meet your passed over relatives. I always insist that people meet angels first, and they chat with angels directly about meeting Uncle Joe, your passed over brother, a loved one, and so on. You can also meet and see your pets, which is kind of cool. The seeing part, that could be as far away as a football field and a half. The football field is for folks who are still jittery about the concept, which I think we all would be. It's a lot to allow for seeing angels with and without wings. It's a lot to allow for seeing Einstein next to Jesus, next to your mother who passed over 10 years ago, next to your pooch, but it feels good. And that's kind of the bigger thing here is there's a huge amount of letting go that happens. And it doesn't really matter what you let go of, but I'll give some basics. You got to let go of your life story and all the hang-ups and what you think's happening, what the situation is, your details, your resistance. This is nothing to do with the mind, nothing to do with science, nothing to do with any organization, all the spiritual institutes, the consciousness institutes, this method, that method. It's complete letting go. So that's the beauty of this is it's not that I'm doing anything for you, so to speak. You don't need me. If once I teach a person, they're good for listening for the rest of their day. The question is, will you want to? You've got something just called ego, your psyche, which is responsible for your fear, your resistance, your worry, your stress, what you know. Again, most of what you know that precludes possibility. It blocks. It limits, and down here is all about no limits, love, possibility, fun, creativity, enthusiasm, all the high vibration stuff. I'm not knocking ego, I'm not knocking thinking. It's going to be a part of your path forevermore. Getting rid of ego, getting rid of thinking is just not in the cards for humanity right now. So what are we talking about? What's the rub? What's the opportunity? 5% less thinking a day, a week, whatever way you want to measure this is what angels have said is the Olympic gold medal. And so what's really cool is your situation's already fully known. You have no privacy. You're not getting judged. You just, you've got a past. You've got a certain pattern of decision making. You've got a certain awareness or consciousness level now. And you do have a unique life path. You may not be on it. And so what's really fun about this is you just don't get any answers to any questions. You get encouragement to sort of get back on your unique life path. You get any help you need. You can have your intuitive skill set blown out. So that means, you know, some people lay their hands on others to get healing and stuff like that. So veteran healers, people who have been doing this for 30 or 40 years, also get amazing amounts of help, assistance, and expansion. This is all about continued growth, expansion, loving more, allowing more. That's the name of the game in life. That's what we've all signed up for coming in to planet Earth, Earth School, whatever you want to call this. For a good portion of folks, it won't seem like that. They may be a career attorney, they may be a construction person, an athlete, or whatever, and their focus is much more narrow. They're not looking at a big picture, and that's totally cool too. So this is going to sound contradictory, but everyone right now is perfectly good where they are, how they are right now in this very moment. So it's a lot to allow for, again, that you're going to be able to have any answers to any questions. It's like hitting a button, but this button is your own heart. You literally, I've got photos of angels. I help people use those photos as an initial baby step. Later, you don't need any photos. You can just see directly and chat two-way. If you really want to take this, not to its extreme, but if you want to take the next step, you can have angels show up in full-on human form. And if you need a way to grasp this, I unfortunately am going to go back to the 1960s and mention Star Trek with William Shatner, the Gene Roddenberry sci-fi thing, except flip the roles. We're more the planet that the Star Trek Enterprise group is visiting, and angels would be much more, the prime directive was not to interfere. And I'm going to have to mention that as well. Again, everything's fantastic how it is right now in this very moment. Instead of my problem is, it's my situation for my opportunity for growth, my opportunity for learning is. So pick something that you're upset about, your lack, you're missing finances, a health issue, a relationship set up at work, a relationship set up on the love front, whatever it is that you think is going on that could be perceived as bad or hurtful or something else or drama. It's actually an opportunity for you to grow. And angels' big picture view is, hey, you're getting everything you need right now if you just want to slow down more and pay attention more to get that immediate growth and expansion, to make decisions in a smarter way. And so they won't want to interfere without you requesting help. And I think that's a big difference because there's a lot of different energies out there. There's negativity. I've seen negativity, and I don't spend more than 1% of my time on these talks or in an interview on angels, positivity, and love, my YouTube series, ever mentioning that stuff. Okay, so negativity exists, but where you put your focus, where you put your awareness, how you do your thinking is how you're flowing your energy. And so the biggest lesson, if you were going to do a takeaway today, and ignore angels, ignore Einstein, ignore Buddha, ignore Sai Baba, ignore your relatives, your ancestors, as they would say in many indigenous cultures. If you wanted to ignore all of that which lies just outside of your brain, the one thing that you could perhaps allow for is simply that there's a difference between the flow of energy that's up here and the flow of energy that's here. And when you really think about that too, that gets kind of funny, because are we really talking about the heart? Are we really talking about the mind? This is about openness. Let's use a Buddhist term. This is about allowing for more in life, allowing for compassion, becoming more compassionate. I help open the door to the angelic realm so people can get their introductions to their own team. I rarely get to do all the angels on a person's team. They get to meet their guardian angel and maybe another angel. There's so many upfront figures, 170 plus, that usually takes up the initial introductory time. But I wanted to make another point. You don't just get all your answers at any level of detail. You just have to be able to have the guts to ask. You have to set your intent first and foremost. You have to want to do this. And then how fast can you write? The record's 48, 49 pages of answers in 9 hours. Australians are great at this. New Zealanders, people from India. It's a big country. So a portion of people from India who would allow for, the concept of spirituality, or that there's consciousness in everything. Canadians and Americans are pretty good too. You have to have, I think, gone through enough where you're aware that there's something more, or that you want something more in your life, that something might be missing. And you have to be wanting to really get unstuck. There's a lot of people who talk about their situations but aren't taking any steps to even indicate that they want any sort of change. So what I wanted to mention is you can have all your answers, any level of detail, and you can hear it in any language. You're from India, hear it in Hindi or Telugu or another language. If you're in Indonesia, hear it that way. You're in Saudi Arabia, hear it that way. If you're in, name a country again, Japan, get it in Japanese. I had 5 women come over once who they had been in Austin, Texas for a long time, so their answers were partially in English, partially in Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. I can't write it. This is direct. But you also, if I had 1,000 people doing this all at once, and they were all asking the same question of the same angel, no 2 answers would have to be the same. That's the wildest part of this. And as I was saying, you're sort of a known quantity in terms of who you are, your past, all your details, like that. Everything is said just the way you need to hear it. And if you reflect on this, that's a pretty big deal because you have a value system. You have a rigid value system for some stuff. You have other stuff that changes every 2 days, 2 years, 20 years. You flip-flop on your own viewpoints. And if you go back in time, you could probably identify a bunch of those. I always love using NFL football, American football analogies. You move from New England, you're no longer a New England Patriot fan, you're a San Francisco's 49ers fan all of a sudden. It happens. Not everybody, though. So angels know how to phrase everything just the way you need to hear it to have it hit home. Think of it as a vibration coming in that hits your heart and then turns into words after the fact, turns into the language, turns into the remote dialect from that one prefecture north of Tokyo that it's a phrase that could only exist if you lived in that little fishing village on the coast of Japan. There's no way anybody else would know that phrase. Just angels, again, know how to say everything just right. So this defies logic. It defies science. It defies every consciousness institute out there, IONS, all the institutes that have been at the center of spirituality. It defies every expert guru out there. It defies everything we know. So again, this is a pretty stunning opportunity for folks. It'll become more popular. It's something that the wellness, holistic publishing communities have yet to embrace or even allow for the concept of. It doesn't mean tons of people haven't done this. And in groups. So I am so fortunate between the photographs and even the photographs. We know a photograph, here, let me do it this way. Even a photograph, we know cannot move. It's a one-dimensional fixed static image. Nah, not at all. A photograph can wink, smile, nod, eyebrow goes up, shoulder waggle, hands move. Check out Audrey Hepburn's photo on my website. Let her do her thing. And again, this gets back to the prime core, one of the tenets of this. Let's use a big word. Tenets of this is to set your intent. Just be like, and here's the number one and only rule or bit of structure I've got. Besides, maybe you should have pen and paper handy if you're going to do all this. You'll never remember all your answers. If you do write down 20 pages of answers, I promise you in a few days when you look back at those answers, you will not recall some of the answers that you wrote down. You'll be in another place, your heart. You'll have opened to openness. You'll be connected to all there is in the universe. You'll be in the flow. Pick a phrase that you like that resonates with you. I'm not stuck in any particular lingo. I have a lot of difficulty with, pronouncing a lot of that lingo, a lot of people's names, all the terminology, this religion, this non-religion, this way to say it, Satori, Samadhi, everything else. It's a giant minefield for me. Imagine me walking into the Catholic community organization structure place and saying, hey, do you want to meet Jesus, Mary, God, Gabriel, and Michael? And Jesus' dad as well. He's an angel. Joseph. And imagine the reaction. Now, I've actually done that. I had a priest from another country in a particular city in America say, well, we really just focus on Jesus here, not even angels that much. And I was like, wow. But I gave it the old American college try. And I've done that. I've knocked on doors of, it feels like every single organization there is. And sometimes, no matter what I think happened, I get tons of rejections, maybe 10,000 rejections now. But I've had 4,000 or 5,000 yeses, and that's people seeing their energy on their hands, colors, lights, consciousness itself, as Joseph Campbell talks about in the Power of Myth series with Bill Moyers. You can meet Joe. fantastic fellow, got an A+ for his life path, not that you're getting graded, but never met his angels. And you can meet him on the other side, and you can see him and you can ask him any questions. All of these figures are reconciled. If you're worried about them in any way, that means they're unconditional love. They're simply love. The vibration love, very few of us understand. And what's really cool about it is there's a trillion layers of consciousness, like a piano scale going up. And there's a trillion layers of less than consciousness, unlove. So we'll just talk love, unlove. And you can put your focus and you can flow your energy any way you want. But if you learn the difference between thinking, unconsciousness, structure, rigidity, I'm not knocking science when I say science this way, but science, I mean, think about it this way. Science is momentary. They come up with a discovery, wait a day, wait 2 weeks, wait 2 years, and it gets flipped on its head, a new discovery. But they say that's it, and that's where we're at for knowledge, and somehow that's really important. And even Einstein's theories are sometimes getting upended, added to. Everything's changing all the time. So if you try to play that game, you're going to kind of get burned in a way. Absolutely do your science, but let's flip the donut, flip the pancake, make up an expression here. Wouldn't it be cool to chat with Einstein and have your formulas, your postulations, your research added to, expanded on, filled out, finished? Now, I'm sure you're going to do, instead of 10 years of research on this one formula, and an angel came in, or a guide, or your Uncle Larry could help. Get an angel, get Einstein, and get Uncle Larry to help you. I'm sure if you got all that help, you'd still want to fill up your time with more research on new fronts. So it's a never-ending story for that type of research and everything else. But wouldn't it be fun to trust what you're already using? Here's the news flash. The little voice inside your head, there's two. One's your ego, your psyche, the one that's like judging people, reacting, rejecting, fear, stress, worry, rigidity. It's all fear. It's meant to protect you, but it's a false security blanket. It's a waste of energy, to be honest. But we're going to waste energy. I'm going to think. I'm going to judge people. I'm going to react. It's going to happen. How fast can you let go of those details is fantastic. And it really doesn't matter what details you let go of. Keep letting go, thinking, being in your heart, being in the moment. Keep letting go, because this is more like ebb and flow in the tides. Don't think you're done at any point. There's continued learning, expansion, growth, learning greater levels of love and possibility and compassion. Compassion for all is life. Compassion for many is like taking a deep breath. That's a Mother Teresa quote from like 2014. That just means that, look, the rat race isn't external. It's not your job. It's not your coworkers. It's not that you're under pressure, have 3 types of illnesses, or taking 10 types of medication. It's not the externals. The rat race is your brain. It's up here. It's can you get out of what you know long enough to take a breath, to smile, to laugh? There's a million ways to be here. Angels are ready to help you on all of this and to blow out your pre-existing intuitive skill set. Let's use a big phrase. Your heart knows no limits. Your heart's ready to go right now. But the more dire your situation is, the more you tell yourself you don't even know what love is, the more you tell yourself that you're in a bind, a jam, a pickle, you're in a tough situation, it's a hard divorce, you lost a family member 5 years ago, you've never gotten over it. There's a lot of serious situations. But all of them have been given to you, and we're going to do the Ted Lasso thing. I mention it on almost every show now. Events don't happen to you, they happen for you. So you can experience greater love, greater compassion, grow your foundation so you enjoy a smoother path in your current life. The way I like to describe past lives, if you can allow for those to exist, is that they're concurrent. The more you do love in this moment, the more you, I don't like this expression, but the more you bleed over into all the dimensions. Or let's just say the more you do love, the more you are love, the more you shine, you're connected to your higher self, your soul, the more that everything you touch is love. And there's nothing better than that. That's the definition of success, is just slowing down more, appreciating more, allowing more, holding space for first yourself. Love yourself as much as possible, have as much fun as possible. Don't be too rigid, try new things, spontaneity, creativity, enthusiasm. I'm super enthusiastic, but I've been in the pool today and I took a long nap. So this may seem like I'm more chill than normal, which is a good thing. Always high energy. I've run for 40 years. I get help on my runs from angels. So imagine athletes getting help for their athletic play, or they think that they're in a slump and they want to get out of the slump. More possibility. I once had an angel, and folks did listening on my behalf. She said 70% of my run was angels helping out. I had no business running that fast, that many hills, in that heat, that humidity, a lot of H's. And I got through it. And I got through it pretty darn well, and I was shocked. And again, it led me to suspect angels were helping me out. They were I get encouragement in the middle of a run. If the music's not doing it, Geronimo and Sai Baba will come in, and they just make me laugh nonstop. They cheer me up. They get me back into the flow and do a lot of encouraging. So if you want to think small, baby steps here, that's what this is about. You can get hugs from angels. I think one hug is worth like 100 questions. I mean, absolutely. If you're an American watching right now, you know you want your answers. It's just the way our culture is. Instant gratification. You want to know where to go apply for a job or this or that. You can have those questions answered for you. But a lot of us also know that there's broader strokes in life, brush strokes, and you can get that detail filled out as well. Now, this is great for business people. They're some of my favorite. They're super disciplined. They just know what they want. They know that they need help for business partners, funding, where to do their real estate locations. They're just ready to go. They know what listening's about. So you get them kind of set, and they know their business model. They know what answers they really want. And I always start off slow. I always have people ask, hey, what do I need to know right now in life? And anyone nervous is really nervous about the concept of listening, writing their answers down. Is this going to work? Is this going to work? It's your electricity system, your plumbing system in your house. Again, what do you think the little voice has been in your head the whole time? One of the little voices is very judgy. It's nervous. It wants to have you in a constant state of fear or worry or agitation or reacting. There's good people. There's bad people. There's on politics, religion, this, that, climate, everything else. You'd love to control others, or you're feeling like there's a tug of war going on out there, a big conflict and stuff like that. That's just to keep you out of your heart, out of loving everything and everyone in front of you, in you, and around you. It's also Star Wars all the way. All these different shows coming out that are part of the Star Wars family, whether it's the movies or Obi-Wan Kenobi or the others. What do you think the Force is? Love, 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 love. And you have those skills as well. You can see energy on animals. You can see energies for situations. If you want to see auras, if you want to call it that, you can do it first thing in the morning, getting out of bed. You roll out of bed, you don't even know your name. You haven't brushed your teeth, had a cup of tea, cup of coffee. You can look up at one of those recessed lights, the pot lights they're called, and you can see just a ginormous beach ball of rainbow light. And the more your thinking comes in, the more you'll notice your beach ball of rainbow light starts to shrink. So your ego is going to come in and be like, ooh, what am I looking at there? And your heart's like, just, oh, pretty, really pretty. And your ego is going to keep analyzing it until finally it shrinks and disappears into nothing. So part of this process is first understanding the difference between unawareness, unconsciousness, thinking, the rat race, rigidity, rejecting, just basically fear, and then the flow that happens when you're down here, a pure laugh of delight for absolutely no reason at all. You can be happy now. Let me throw the hand grenade into this whole discussion. You can be happy right now, even in the middle of watching this whole thing. Right this second, you can take a deep breath. You could even smell flowers and have angels bring you a meadow from your childhood. Nantucket for me, if I wanted to remember Rosa Rugoso, or a field of yellow flowers. I have this memory of Surfside Road, this one picketed fence area that I ran by, and there were no flowers. And somehow they all opened up to the sunlight, if it works that way. And it was a field of yellow that I swear they hadn't opened when I went by earlier. Angels can bring you any smell. Oceans, the Seychelles, Hawaii, if you don't live in Hawaii. There's really no limits here. So it's not just about your answers. It's not just about hugs. The hugs can become healing. Colorblind people have seen colors. You can see colors beyond human definition. That's how big this is. That's how much the mark has been missed by all the folks out there, and this isn't passing judgment again. I'll flip it. This is how much opportunity for growth we all have. Everyone, even the biggest instructor, there's more to humanity. There's more compassion flowing in. There's more opportunity to tap the consciousness flows that already are. Joy, the angel Joy, I don't have her photo right here, but I use her all the time. She's on my YouTube channel, the shorts. You can see her on the website. You can purchase angel photos for $3 each. Put Joy's photo. She's the emotion Joy. Think of her as the stratosphere, a perma layer of consciousness around the planet, that when you get excited about something, your team just scored a touchdown, you're playing fantasy football, it's that season, and you're jumping around for joy, you're connecting with her. And I think that's one of the bigger points for all of this. And put her on your phone and see what happens. These photos as well can change color, can move. You can see a face in the ball of light. There isn't just balls of light. A lot of people love the expression orbs, but there's all different shapes. There's rainbow, what I call pie slice triangles that are archangels. There's a silhouette of my guardian angel. You can see her face. It's an actual silhouette. That's definitely all over my social media, my website, and so on. But there's something bigger going on. You have an opportunity anytime you want, and people use the expression waking up. I'll just call it slowing down. All of us can slow down more at any given point. You can breathe more, you can allow more, you can smile more. You use the expression be more present, and you can attract more outcomes in life that would excite you, that you would love to have happen, that are truly what you're about. You just have to learn how to get out of your own way, and you have to learn how to accept or receive help, love, assistance. So we all have tons of opportunity or room for growth. It's, again, like that college graduate who's sitting in the basement, hasn't gotten a job yet. They haven't gotten their first job. That person has got incredible room for job growth or for a job opportunity, unlimited potential. And that really is all of us, even the best astrophysicist in the world, even the folks from this TV program that's spiritual, woo-woo-woo, paranormal, alien this, disclosure that. And again, not knocking anybody. They've got to take the scientific steps. They've got to take the learning steps. They've got to take the knowledge steps so it feels more safe and secure. But for the disclosure crowd, there's a lot of different types of, let's say, we're not, humanity is not, the world is not flat. The brain, our thinking, our knowledge, our scientific communities, for the most part, the world is flat. I don't mean that literally, but there's sort of an attitude about how things work. And so it's much bigger than we can ever grasp through science. It doesn't mean our science isn't going to be fantastic, that we shouldn't trust it. Trust it. It's like your doctors, keep seeing your doctors, but you can still get healing from angels. Some stuff's written, some stuff's not. But what I'm saying is there's just broader potential, broader flows. It's not just angels or Einstein that you can chat with. You can meet light beings. Think more the Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks crowd. You can meet Seth from the 1970s, Jane Roberts, light being, non-corporeal, if I said the word right. That doesn't mean you can't see him in the sky. You'll see like a Cheshire cat smiling face. Light beings, though, will work with you and show you a human figure. It'll look more like Silver Surfer is the best way I know how to say it. So let's look at the disclosure crowd for 1 second. They really are focused on what the government's doing, what folks have experienced to date, crash retrievals, bodies, and of course material science and stuff like that. But there's a much bigger picture that they don't have any influence on, and that's simply the broader concept of love, higher frequencies, consciousness, elevated, a broader awareness. And that's I think the most important thing. That's what's going to get lost or has been lost in a lot of, if you look at Twitter or you're watching congressional panels, let's do it this way. Where are you hearing the word love? That says it all right there. Most of what you're going to read about, whether this is about more love, you're going to find that light beings, angels, they're like whales, they're like dolphins. They're super high vibration. They're light, and you're light as well. And this is an opportunity for you to shed a lot of perspective that doesn't serve any good in your own life. While you're repeating certain behaviors, while you're feeling heavy, why your thinking has gotten to the point where you're starting to have illnesses, or your illnesses are piling up. There's a certain way to flow in life that allows you to, again, walk a smoother path. You would have to believe in any of this. You would have to want to allow for this. You would want to have to allow for a little bit of help. But imagine what happens when the disclosure community chats with unconditional love beings of light. Whoa, casinos going off in Vegas. That's where we're not quite yet at. There's a big chase going on. And we know this chase. Forget about the disclosure community for a second. We know this chase in our personal lives. We're chasing this. We're chasing that. We're not allowing for what naturally could come our way, what would be beautiful to allow to come our way: more relationships, more friends, more fun, more excitement, more career engagement, so that you're totally intellectually stimulated in a fantastic, engaging way. Life is meant to be lived. I'm going to quote a Native American chief. You can meet a ton of Native American chiefs. Unconditional love figures who are much more down to earth and are so great at giving you advice. There's 3 Native American chiefs sitting on my wall right there. They've been with me since I was 2 years old, probably before that. My dad died when I was 2, 1970, Navy fighter pilot type, but a radar weapons guy, so they call a radar intercept officer, in an F-4 Phantom in the Black Aces, off the carrier Roosevelt, off of Naples, Italy. It was his time to go. I think he had just turned 26. Nighttime crash, and once the sedan, military sedan, had pulled away from my mom's, I guess, apartment, I was 2, and the news had been broken to her, a neighbor walked these 3 pictures, drawings by a really famous artist who's since passed over, but he did the Mad Magazine Alfred E. Newman drawing, and he's got 14,000 drawings by hand before computers existed, but it's Dolnaif Redshirt Geronimo, and they're unconditional love figures: wisdom, compassion, and action for Geronimo. And they come through loud and clear. You can get any sort of Native American scent or wilderness scent: pine, juniper, sweetgrass, desert pinon, sage. It could be just wildflowers, tobacco, smell of leather, even smoke the other day. I do that on all my shows. I'll take sage, light it, and I'll blow it through the screen to folks halfway across the world. People do that on my show. I just had the panel that I put out, I think, yesterday. All the guests got to catch flower scents and sage when I was blowing sage smoke through. I've been a guest on maybe 40 shows in the last year, in 2022 and 2023, including Coast to Coast AM. Check that out on March 24th. 4 hours they had me on. That's midnight to 4 a.m. for me. I thought I sounded pretty chipper. Did the best I could. You can catch any smells, and that's just up to you, allowing for what we'll call a mini miracle there. Let angels do their jobs. Let the chiefs do their jobs. These 3 Native American chiefs are just so wonderful. You can feel them. They can foresee how things can unfold and can help you with your decision-making process and advising you on the steps to take to get from point A to point B on absolutely anything. I have a book called The Wisdom of Dolnaif Redshirt Geronimo. I never mentioned this book. I purposely priced it at a ridiculous price of $35. It's on Amazon. I don't think I've sold more than a dozen copies in a dozen years. And I purposely priced that book high. Go grab that book if you've got a big pocketbook, you don't blink at this stuff. But the easy book, everything that I talk about you can do. You don't need me. A lot of people will need me. They do it the first time and they might not ever be able to talk to me again because their ego can come in and just lock everything down. That happens quite a bit. You have to almost laugh at how incredible this is, how amazing your own heart is, how capable you are, and how big your ego is. We all have a huge ego, or it can rise up and get big, and then it can subside. So you need to be able to tell yourself you're okay, and to ride out the reactions after you meet angels, after you meet your relatives, after you meet Geronimo, after you meet Sai Baba, Vishnu, Lakshmi, Mother Teresa, and so It's a lot. We're not used to being that open. We're not used to this much love and compassion. There's a lot of crying, releases. There's a lot of yawning. People who are in a real bind, medically, let's say, if they're on the fence 50-50 for checking out, I mean, big picture, real important stuff, they could be yawning for hours and hours and hours at a time, depending on the length of a session. I try to stay out of all details and situations. People will send me 20-paragraph life stories, and those are probably the people I end up not helping at all. I try to, again, stay out of the details. I want you to have all your details. I want you to have your answers. But what I do is have you give a fruit name to a particular topic. So banana, papaya, vegetable name, tomatoes. Give it a code name if it's about cousin Fred who's been asking you for money for the last 2 years, or it's a health situation, or it's the loss of the job last week. What do you do now? I don't need to know the topic, but I want to make sure you get every answer, any level of detail. Again, if you need to hear it 30 different ways, 30 different places you need to go apply for a job, I just check in and say, did you get enough answers for papaya? And you're like, oh yeah. And I make sure you're getting hugs sprinkled in all the way through, because again, I think a hug's worth 100 answers. But as good Americans as we all are, if you're abroad, you know the importance of details at certain parts of your life. It's not just good enough to be like, oh, love, and that's it. So there's something about getting out of here, getting to here. Love is a constant. Love is a constant in you and around you. As a kid, and this got brought out in the panel, yesterday I had 3 beautiful, incredible, you'll just pick up on this right away when you hear them speak, experts on a mind, body, spirit panel, number 4 in the Angels Positivity and Love Show series. I've got a MBS, Mind, Body, Spirit panel series. And so we had 3 incredible guests. Diane Forster, it's dianeforster.com, a mindset coach, 2020, California's 2020 Life Coach of the Year. I have today as her mantra, the name of her business, the name of her show, the name of her book, and it's really a mantra. I have today, and fill in the rest of the blank. I have today to be extra thankful, appreciative for what I've got, and to see what the universe is going to bring to me next. I have today to listen to angels a little bit better, this much more. 1 minute a day extra, that's all it takes, a baby step. So you get the idea there. She's totally worth checking out. She's episode 1, my very first guest in the Angels Positivity Love Show series. There's no limit on time. I think we've gone over 3.5 hours. Hers was 43 minutes, the shortest. It's been viewed over 700 times. Check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Michael Andre Ford. So she's amazing. The show, we've recorded 42 episodes into November of 2023. Episode 32 just came out this week with Norway's Jannicke Oineas, the show host of Wisdom from North. I think that's a 65,000 audience show. I've been on that show maybe 3 years ago, but she's had really famous folks on from all over. All sorts of spiritual folks and others. Definitely check her out, subscribe, and so on. She's also an actress and singer. Childhood star in Norway, everybody knew her. She played Annie in the biggest production in Norway. Again, sang, acted. As an adult, she was in Scandinavia's longest running soap opera, Hotel Caesar. So be sure to check out that episode. And if you would, for all this stuff, subscribe, like, obviously enjoy it, but please comment and share. Very few people do that. This is a big topic. So it's slow growth in a way, but it hits home for a lot of folks. It's a very private experience. It's a very direct experience. A few people freak out once in a while who, again, get exposed to so much. You know, angels are big. A part of us can react, especially if we've been very defensive about certain quadrants of our life. Not all of us want change right away, or to be happier or shinier, or just having more fun, or letting go of our troubles, or what we think how our limits are. That's almost a sub-business of being human, is we can get stuck running a business of just misery, and that happens. It's, again, each moment is our opportunity to let go of this stuff up here, the structure, and to engage in more just feeling the flow of life in and around you. So we're back to Star Wars there, or just communing with nature, your pooch. A little less iPhone, a little less the news, a little less what someone else is doing or not doing to your satisfaction, a little more actual living. I mean, if you go back through your life, and angels will help you with this after your last breath. You can look at how you handled your decision making. It's not a judgment thing. It's just, did you live? Did you love all you could? It's basically the litmus test that we'd probably all fail. Are we waving to strangers, complete strangers? We don't need to know if they're a Jets fan or a New England Patriots fan. We don't need to know their political party or country of origin. We don't need to know if they're for or against changing the atmosphere and reducing CO2 levels. We're not about trying to control them in that moment of love and saying hi for no reason. It's a pure action of delight, of engaging life, of engaging humanity. And that's what this is all about. And that hopefully that type of perspective could be applied as a lens for everything in life. Are we sharing love more? Are we allowing more? Are we allowing ourselves to simply grow? The answer is going to be, and this is not the bad news, but it's just more opportunity for growth, is we have unlimited opportunity for growth. We're probably not doing enough of that, all of us, on the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday. And if we're lucky, like a broken clock, twice a day, a broken clock is correct twice a day. Just like that, twice a day, we might have actually taken a conscious breath, been here, and actually done something for ourselves or others in terms of showing love to ourselves, showing love to others. It's actually a lot more than that. We do a lot of unconscious acts that are absolutely incredible that we give ourselves no credit for. So anything that you think is out of reach right now is totally within reach. The more you slow down and take stock, or just without a judging lens, but you just allow everything to be as it is, the more you get jiggy with it, to use a really dumb expression. The more you get with it, the more you appreciate, whoa, I'm already there. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to gain here. I'm quoting angels. Most of what I say is quoting angels. So if any part of this has sounded great, blame angels for it, because they've given me the material after 10, 11, 12 years of this. But there's nothing to gain. There's nothing to lose here. Move past seeing the negative. And that's where science gets stuck. That's where the disclosure chasing group is worried about this stuff. They could have their answers. They could meet light beings. They could see light beings. They could interact with light beings, with angels. I always would say, do angels first. Light beings are big. Again, they'll slow it, dumb it down for you to get it done. It's just like your relatives. It's a lot to suddenly meet Aunt Martha. A lot of people are bawling when that happens. You can do this with your eyes shut if you want, but I'm an eyes open type guy. Get that done eyes open. Especially in America, we love to listen this way with our eyes shut. That's just a huge habit these days. I can't say it, You can listen with your eyes open. You can look at photos. I use the photos as props. Again, the photos move, change color. Get absolutely any answer to any question, but do baby steps first. I always make the following metaphor. It doesn't have to make sense, but it's 70 baby steps and you're there. And by the way, the goalposts keep moving, because there's always further growth, further allowing, further consciousness, to further expansion, higher up the piano key of allowing, loving more, and just being. But you have no limits. And this is a hard concept, because there's an immediate but that comes out of every other person's mouth. But what about this situation? What about that? And all the situations in your life, all the versions of reality that that are perfectly real. They're fixed. They're fixed data points that you swear are real. That's Byron Katie's work, by the way, and many others out there will help you out of that mindset to help realize your dreams and so on. So you've got a mindset, you've got what you know, but the name of the game here is letting go of what you know long enough to actually do basic listening to get stuff addressed. And in the end, you're going to find that it's not the situations per se, it's how you're approaching all these fixed realities, all your problems, all your situations, all your jobs, all your health stuff. There's something bigger than that is the common theme or thread. It's how you're approaching each moment. That's the occasion here. The occasion is always now, to quote Chogyam Trungpa. It's openness itself. Every moment itself is the occasion. And that's the occasion to be here and to embrace all there is. Seth talks about it. It's not going to be found in the reality that you currently know. It's going to be found through your heart into a much broader reality. So if people need to hear it, I did free service for 8 years, helping a lot of folks, and I'd slip in a question on their sheets. What does Michael do for people? One, it was to help people understand, what do I do? I didn't really have a way to explain it, and I would sometimes have those answers shared with me. I was a lot more paying attention to that back in the day. But Michael channels. Dull Knife said that to somebody once down at the Whole Foods headquarters in the center of Austin, Texas. And I didn't know what channeling really was. I kind of heard of it, didn't think that I did it. By the time I did the 17-mile ride home in the car to the northwest part of Austin, I was like, oh, okay, I channel. And, flash forward 10 years later, I do trans-dimensional channeling for a multi-dimensional experience. It's just like your past lives. They're all concurrent, which is a hard thing to grasp, so ditch that I just said that. There's a lot going on in right this second. And that's all you have to really trust in is your ability to connect more, to love more, to flow more, to see more, to smell more, to feel more, to hear more. And I want to back up. The Mind, Body, Spirit panel covered a lot of this yesterday. So I mentioned Diane Forster. There's 2 other guests that you need to check out. There's Tracy L. Clark, TLC, if you want to remember that one. She's out of Ontario, Canada, powerhouse, first businesswoman in Canada to sell her public company as a female, as the point of that. Totally intuitive, a lot of offerings. It's tracylclark.com. Check out her stuff. She's an author. She has an app, a show, and so on. Absolutely wonderful. Again, 3 powerhouses yesterday. The third one goes by a bunch of different last names because of what the passport says versus social media and getting monetized versus her as a poet, what her name was. She worked for the Elephant Journal as an editor. It's Liesel, and I know I'm still mispronouncing the first name. I mispronounce everything, so sorry, Liesel. But it's Liesel Elliott, Elliot. You'll know her on TikTok because she has 976,000 subscribers. The Eternal Tarot, with the words separated by underscores. There's like 40, 50 knockoff accounts. She's the only one close to 1 million subscribers. She's been intuitive and a guide, a healing guide for close to 20 years. And then she just happened to do the tarot thing online and it took off. She has a big Instagram following as well. Her website's theeternaltarot.com. Check her out as well. She's absolutely fabulous. She has a gorgeous children's book that talks very much about the psyche, ego. She terms it as the dragon and the genius or the genie in the heart. And it's just a beautiful children's book. I think you're going to find the interactions between the 3 were just absolutely wonderful. They made music together, the interactions and the content as well. So there's always more to your own life story. There's always more for your own growth. Picture when you walk in from a garage into sort of a foyer, whatever that's called, a mud room, I think we call it in America, where hats and coats could be hung up on pegs. Picture your own mind house here, and you've walked in from the garage, from outside society, came home from work. You're going to want to put your hat, your coat on certain pegs, and those are actually life situations, drama. You're divorced from 2 years ago. You've not gotten over Fred or Sarah. They're still in your head. Or a health issue, you name it. We've got these pegs, and we've got these hats and these coats, and we like to arrange everything. In the end, there's not really any hats. There's not really any pegs. You can move stuff around, and there's always a broader picture, a broader flow. You knew it as a kid. You knew it periodically as an adult when things were going well and you really relaxed. You know it on vacation when it's a good vacation. But it shouldn't have to take going on vacation for you to let go and just breathe and be connected to all there is. In fact, let's go back to the hand grenade statement of, you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. Angels gave me that one. It's in my little Listening to Angels book that's $4.99. It's been an Amazon bestseller twice now in the angel category. It's super short. If you think I wrote it, thank you very much. I saw balls of light as I was writing. It's so gentle. I mean, unconditional love, compassion are the big words in it. The epilogue is written by an angel named Dale, who coached a world-class athlete who won a bunch of gold medals in the Olympics. Absolutely brilliant, that epilogue. It's my favorite part. I think it's a 20-minute read. It shows you how to listen to angels. I'd spend my $4.99 on that book because there's 7 or 8 photos in there. And I think I'm selling them on my Wix website, michaelandreford.com, for $3 a piece. So what I'm trying to say is the best value for your buck is to buy that book. You get 7 photos that would cost you $21 otherwise. But it's angels talking to you directly. If you could kick me out of the way. I mean, I'm a nice guy, hopefully fun, enthusiastic. I love helping people. I am a glutton for punishment and for knocking on doors and saying, hey, do you want to meet angels, to the angel community? And they're like, go away, we want to meet angels. That's from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I've even reached out to Persig's estate when he was in the middle of passing. I got to talk to his assistant, I think through typing, and that was just awesome. Not just talking to the assistant. And Persig did a great service for us with Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance and everything since, for trying to help humanity to slow down and just be more aware of what's already here, what's already now, what's already available to all of us. Buddhism tries to teach it, Zen, Joshu. You can meet Joshu. You can meet some of those other figures. Lao Tzu, I can never pronounce the name right. I mean, there's Steve Jobs. You can meet, who else? I had a scientist from a European country who was super worried about meeting angels. By that, I just mean that, who's sure about this? Who's going to be like, yeah, let's do it? Although that's every other person. Let's dive right in. And a lot of people just are naturals at this. I'd say most people are naturals at this. It's like reading a book. It's at the level of difficulty of writing or reading a book. It's that easy. But your brain, your psyche, your control circuit, the part of you that allows for political parties or hating or judging or reacting or this person's wrong, this person's right, there's a broader understanding always. And so no matter what fixed position you have, you can be a gentler, kinder, breathing, more supporting others emotionally more type person. That scientist was super worried about meeting angels. I don't blame him. It took a while to get him comfortable, but he was asking to meet Steve Jobs. Now, I had not met Steve Jobs on the other side at all. I never would have imagined it. I'm super shy about having new figures come in, whether they're from India, Native American chiefs. But at some point it gets glaringly obvious. I need stuff explained to me. It's got to be obvious. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then another figure comes in. So it's 170 plus figures, many more than that if you start counting everybody's guardian angel and so on. You can meet the figure from Peaceful Warrior, Socrates, Sock, the gas station attendant. I say angel. I think he'd say angel. Doesn't matter all the details there. But check out Dan Millman's Peaceful Warrior book, Way of the Peaceful Warrior, and his movie Peaceful Warrior with Nick Nolte, Scott Meklowitz, Amy Smart. Beautiful film, touches in it, lots of humor. But there, a lot of the material that we're talking about here is completely covered. Look at my suggested reading list. It doesn't just have book covers, and I think each book is linked to Amazon. I bet when I did it, it was hopefully the best priced book. Movies as well, some audio stuff. Even a 1940s black and white film called Lucky Partners by Louis Milestone. Now, he did Ocean's 11 with Frank Sinatra, All Quiet on the Western Front. He did Pork Chop Hill with Gregory Peck. He was the #1 Hollywood film director, and Ginger Rogers is in the film. She's the #1 highest paid actress at the time in 1940. I think she was 27. Ron Coleman is in there, British. #2 highest paid male actor in Hollywood. So this is no small setup, but this is a film you've never heard of. You've heard of It's a Wonderful Life. You've heard of Jimmy Stewart running up and down yelling, "Hello, Mr. Postman," and everything else. And there's Clarence the Angel in that one. I think Lucky Partners is the #1 most unknown guardian angel film of all time. Now, the last 10 minutes is really an indictment of the Hays Code. Talk about censorship from the 1930s all the way into the 60s, 70s with the Hollywood Motion Pictures Association. I'm not going to get this right. Jack Valenti, maybe? Hollywood self-censored to make sure the government wouldn't come in heavy-handed on about a dozen or 2 dozen different, quadrants of topics in films, from kissing, interracial kissing to maybe cigarettes, tobacco, I don't know. But it was totally restrictive, Orwellian almost. And so the film in the last 10 minutes goes off the rails to do sort of a slam pushback against the Hays Code and the unnecessary censorship in Hollywood. It's why I love film. It's why I love acting. It's why I love dance, drama, opera, you name it, because it's from the heart. We had a ballet dancer, international ballet dancer, as a guest on Angels, Positivity, and Love. I'm going to guess around episode 8, somewhere in there. She's in Canada now, or back in America now, but she was in the Berlin State Opera, which is no small feat. So she was world class, Swan Lake, you name it. And she had angel experiences. It's an episode that I think often gets missed, and you need to check that out. You'll see her. I believe it's episode 4. But check that out. It's one of the first 7 episodes. Berlin, opera dancer, ballet. I'm losing my lingo here, but you get the idea. Some beautiful stories she shares there. We also have, again, I mentioned the Norwegian actress. One of the people who was talking about domestic violence from New York City, a life coach, had been on ABC's One Day to Live, that soap opera series. And we have an Australian actor I'm super excited about, reasonably big name, taping in early November. I will try to get that queued up earlier, so sometime in late December at the earliest, you should be able to see that episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. I'm just so excited to bring that to you. Even more exciting, in a week, I get to bring Echo Bodine on the show. Yay! This is one of her books. She's a best-selling guide, a psychic. Her entire raison d'etre, her reason for being, is helping you trust that still small voice within and to awaken your intuition. And she's super sweet. Angels have given me the download on her, only like this much, but just saying what a wonderful figure. So hopefully she doesn't see this before she tapes and talks with me. But this is so buried inside this conversation. There's no way. But I'm super excited to meet her. I'm glad to have her on. Jennifer McLean, 35-year plus healer. Tons of materials and offerings over all these decades for you. She did the show, had a blast, listened to Angels on our behalf. So I have a lot of guests come on. I'd say pretty much almost everybody. Lorna Byrne, the Irish angel mystic, only caught sage scent when I'm wafting sage smoke in Ireland. She caught the smell of daisies and roses, not the sage. It was beautiful. And I just wanted to make sure she had her own special appearance on the show without all the other trappings. So she's been invited back for 20 minutes anytime this fall to do archangel listening for us. I'll put up a few photos of archangels. She'll be able to do her own listening and so on. So we'll see about that. But plenty of other guests. Macchio Clerk in Mexico. He's originally from South Africa, grew up in Holland, spent time in Denver, and just moved to Mexico City. But he's a dream guidance guy. He's a Jungian therapist. You can meet Carl Jung now. He did a ton of stuff on air that would make him immediately one of the top, what do we call them, psychics. I was going to say physicists, but one of the top psychics in the world. He was very gutsy. And after the show, stuff happens. It doesn't always have to be during the show. I'll do stuff before the show, during the show, and then after the show. There was a guest, I'll just try to put it abstractly, a guest who got to see light flowing all around them after the show. And that was just absolutely incredible. So picture not just seeing the flows of consciousness around you, but asking angels to make you butterflies. Not just one, but a lot of butterflies. And you're seeing butterflies out of light, out of multiple colored light that you know can't be real in our reality, but are just jaw-dropping, Disney-esque, and make you leap for joy or your heart soar for joy as if you're in some animated movie or you're 5 years old watching Bambi, a Disney film. There's miracles to be had, mini miracles and just more joy and more excitement, more enthusiasm. It's contagious to experience anytime you wish. As adults, we take adulting pretty seriously. So I'm not even mentioning the fun stuff. You can see light on my fingertip as if it's a Bic lighter. I flip a Bic lighter all the time on any chance I get, on a panel, on a show. I ask you just to say what you're seeing in the flame. It'll be yellow, gold, or orange, or whatever, or white, for whatever the color of the flame is. But then you ask Joy to come in and make some extra angel light on the flame. You could see a ball of light passing by right now. That could be Penelope. The angel who is the Socrates or Sock figure, the gas station attendant played by Nick Nolte, the Mr. Miyagi figure. It's a really great book. It's such a good one to just sink your teeth into. It's very gentle. He is wonderful. He's like Jeff Bridges, the actor. Big kahuna figure, gold chain, tuft to hair showing. I always describe him in a blue Hawaiian shirt, shorts, flip-flops. If you see him with your eyes shut, I do that too, walking on a beach towards you, it looks like he owns the beach. He's not going to trip in those flip-flops like me. And he gives a big bear hug. If you're female and you get a big bear hug from him, you might just be like, oh my God, that bear hug was great. Thank you, sir. May I have another? And he'll laugh, big guffaw, and you'll get, one or two more hugs. Again, the hugs are worth 1,000 words. You can ask for your answers in a symphony form. Okay, so you're the scientist who wants to write a big dissertation on astrophysicist stuff or about past lives. You want to win a contest for $500,000. You're doing the Bigelow contest from a few years back. You can have your answers delivered in a symphony of light that's worth 500,000 words and let it unpack over time. There's no limits here, but that's all we do is operate, especially scientists, especially the seekers, the chasers, the disclosure crowd. If you're a government official, if you're this, a lawyer, that, you're a this, pretty much anything we do as an adult, we're adulting. And that just means this, that, have some fun with this. And welcome to being serious, and welcome to taking things too seriously, and welcome to the age-old habit of taking ourselves too seriously, self-importance. That's all of us. We can react to absolutely anything. And it's because of these lenses, these photographic lenses or these filters that we use, that it blocks all the absolute fun in life that's available right now. This figure here is the tiger who goes with the Divine Mother in India. If you know that lore, these cultural references, if you know who the Divine Mother is, you can meet the Divine Mother, you can meet the tiger. Pure action. People can stick their hand out. They do this on camera, off camera, whatever you want to call this right now. Like this, with their eyes shut, they could feel a tiger walk by, feel the fur. Pure action, like Geronimo, absolutely on your team, unconditional love. Anyone right now, ask angels to make it nice. This is how I do it out loud, but don't get caught at a supermarket saying anything out loud. You're supposed to do this from the heart. Truly learn where your heart is, your center of consciousness, your awareness, your being, your connection to all there is. It doesn't matter what way I say it. It's what you do when you hit an amazing tennis stroke. You crack the eggs to make an omelet, and the whole thing is like watching ballet. You're just amazing, and everyone enjoyed the meal. It's when you enjoyed gardening, when you enjoyed mowing that lawn that you had put off stressing for 3 weeks, and you were just in the moment, the flow. It's the shower for sure. Almost every shower, very few people have an upset experience in a shower. That's Wayne Dyer, I think I'm quoting. But it's all the little things in life that you're doing all the time. But you start to do it in a more conscious way down here, all those little things, and you realize that these are the occasions of living, and that approach is the success approach to everything you touch. And so you can ask that tiger to roar for you right now out of a jungle in India. You can catch the highest vibration of India. To me, India is like 40 countries. I've never been there, but I have to deal with India a lot. I'm a little shocked about that. I've had figures from India. Check out Vazi Rose Therese Lopez. Check out her show. She studied under Sri Kaleshwar. I describe him as love on an Indian breeze. Very gentle fellow who knew he was going to go back over early. Passed when he was probably 42-ish. And this is like 11 or 12 years ago. But check out her episode. She is so well-versed, so well-trained, but still very open after all this training. A lot of these experts out there are a Zen expert or a meditation mindfulness expert of 30 years who teaches at the big institutes. They can shut down after meeting Buddha, after meeting Sai Baba, after meeting their relatives, after meeting angels. It happens to all of us. We can react, and then 10 more years goes by, and you're not allowing for the universe, how big it is. So imagine what happens for the disclosure crowd when they start talking to light beings, angels. It really doesn't matter. Any single one of these figures, Mother Teresa could help out for the landscape on a particular industry, a particular topic. What will you allow for is the crux, the opportunity. There's always more to allow for. So back to India for a second. Don't get caught doing this. Do it from the heart. Silently just be like, angels, help me out of my head, into my heart. Amen. Rock and roll. Thank you. Om Sai Ram. You have to own your own setting of your intent. Where are you going to put yourself right now? If you're here, sky's the limit. Universe is the limit. Stars are the limit. Remember, not even the phrase is fixed. You can always go bigger. Ask the tiger to do a little roar from the jungle. Close your eyes and just listen. You can hear a distant roar. You can catch the smell of India. Ask Sai Baba, Vishnu, Krishna, Lakshmi, Ganesh to bring you temple incense. Sri Kaleshwar, Sai Baba. Ask Native American chiefs, Geronimo, Doe Knife, Red Shirt to kick it into gear. They can help with the Indian temple incense. It won't be anything you'll be able to buy in a store, on Amazon, or even if you're in India, it will be of the highest vibration. Same thing with flower smells. You can ask angels just to bring you a flower smell, one that rocks your world. Not everybody likes wisteria. Not everybody likes lavender. Not everybody likes roses. But something will toot your horn. And there you can see Jennifer McLean get 3 flower smells from California. Laguna Niguel, where she lives. She got 3 flower smells. That show will be out October 1st, I believe. Dr. Evan Alexander and Karen Newell show up September 17th, I believe. Both have come back on the show solo. So Karen's already taped her 2nd episode with me. I think that comes out October 8th or so. Dr. Evan Alexander will tape September 27th. That'll come out later in the year, November-ish or so. I'm super excited to have him on. And I've got him on a panel with 2 other near-death experience experts. If you've been through a near-death experience, you're an expert. Each of the women have had 3 near-death experiences each. One's a NASA oceanographer, although she worked for the U.S. Navy. And back in the day, since she's from the country of Colombia, she was also the Columbia Navy's head of marine biology, head of their department. I think there's another title, a maritime something. She's a UNESCO researcher in the past. She's wonderful. She's had a ton of life experiences. She has intuitive talents and helps people, not just with a reading and telling people what she's hearing, but more than that. So that's Ingrid Hankala, PhD. Check her out. It's actually Ingrid Garcia-Hansen with an E-N, Hankala. How's that for remembering a name? And the third person's Michelle Clare, C-L-A-R-E. She's wonderful, has had very direct experiences. All 3 of these folks know of each other. I think 2 of them have actually met and interacted a lot like each other. The Near-Death Experience crowd, IANDS, is the International Society of Near-Death Experiences or something. That's quite possibly an organization I'm interacting with in a year or 2, so I don't want to say it quite the same way I said science, but what will the near-death experience crowd allow for? Well, a person who've had that incredible experience. Think about Heaven is for Real, the boy describing the heaven scene. You can have that experience with your eyes shut. Ask Jesus to come in, ask angels to come in. Pick just 2 angels and get a gentle experience so it's not so big that you're left like this for 3 weeks going, holy cow, that was the biggest experience of love I'll ever have. You can ask for that experience and get it with your eyes shut. I don't think the near-death experience crowd understands that. And I'm not, again, knocking it. They're doing their thing. But like the Buddhist circles, do they know they can meet Buddha? They can physically walk with Buddha in full-on human form. That's a push. That was back to the 1960s Shatner Star Trek reference. One of my guests this year has taken it so far to be able to walk in human form with angels. And so I just want to leave that as a possibility. Other guests that I've helped, or other people that I've helped in regular sessions from other countries even, have had angels show up in human form in the following week or days after a session or a guest appearance. What will you allow for? So it could be just a stranger with sparkly eyes who holds the coffee shop door open for you and says just what you were thinking this morning or saying to your family members last night, or with a movie line from 2 nights ago, and you're left stunned. You had been glued to your iPhone, and they say, "What's the rush?" That's not quite the line I was thinking of, but they say something that hits home. You are sensitive, all of us are, and you feel a tremendous, like, oh my God, like a Roman candle went off of love and energy, and you hustle through the doorway and you say you thank, or you forget to say thank you, and the door shuts, and then you even step out to see who that stranger was, and they're gone. That is a pop-in. And so angels can do that quite a bit. Ask your guardian angel, ask your team, ask Archangel Michael, ask Archangel Gabriel, ask somebody, Joy, Charlotte, Penelope, Dale, to do a pop-in for you. I have seen angels in human form so much. A Portuguese ballerina taking time off from life in Maui 20 years ago, Lahaina. I was surfing, met her, got to surf with her, and that was actually an angel named Heather popping in. I was in a Stockholm half marathon. I arrived way too early to Stockholm. I'm in there, I don't know, 1912 Olympics Stadium. It looks like a Viking castle. It was totally empty. Unlike America, we lock up our tracks and throw away the key, and we've got all the rules and regulations. It's kind of like the Scarlet Letter crowd from I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. We love to fix everything. We love to restrict, regulate, pass laws, tell people how to live. The track was wide open in Stockholm. I needed to run some repeats. I found an incredible UNESCO, probably World Heritage site, unlocked. I walked right in, never saw a soul. But in walks a UCLA track star who was really in LA at the time, Swede. Totally was afraid to talk to her for the first 20 minutes. She started the conversation, thank God. And that was Heather again popping in, and that made my whole trip. I almost ran a PR. I was on a PR pace, running way beyond my abilities in a pack. Everything's in kilometers. I wish I had a coach on a bike with me. I did walk twice for about a minute and a half total. I crossed that line 2 seconds or 4 seconds off my best time ever. If I had not stopped those times, oh my God. But boy, the whole trip was fun. And that was quite the experience. I was in a Halloween line. So a store that's a small store in New York City. It's like a concert line 5 blocks away. It's moving slow. It's a really small store. I'm not getting in for 2 hours. I'm the dead last person, but I'm dead set on getting this one costume. And somebody, we'll just say famous or well-known, got in line behind me and started talking to me. And that was actually an angel. The real person was somewhere else. It made my entire next 3 months. I was probably in my early 30s. Leave out the details on that one. And then in a bookstore in Austin, another time on trails, I've seen angels. I've seen, we'll call them Secret Service angels. There's a Jamie, there's a Rachel. Jamie helps me with my photography. Check out my flowers books. I take photos, I grow flowers. I didn't have a green thumb back in New York. I was there for 20 years, or 18 years or 16 years, depending on how you count it. I was there twice. But I never would have imagined I'd be growing plants or vegetables or growing flowers, let alone taking photographs of them. But this angel has helped me with all my photography, to help me with my first shot of the New York City skyline that I have up on a wall upstairs. And it's been on social media at least once or twice. But there's another angel named Rachel. And if anybody knows the movie Dune, it's a sci-fi film. There's this technology they have, force field shields that look like rectangular boxes around a person. This is the original Dune, made by that quirky Hollywood film director. I'm blanking on his name. If anybody knows what those rectangular boxes of energy look like, I was running on the trail one day in Austin, probably around 2014, 2015, and I saw light in rectangular, but it's 3-dimensional, so it's not a coffin. I don't like that expression, but it's rectangular on all sides, like a box, but long, like a shoebox, but 8 feet across. Go through the trees, and a big hello. Her name's Rachel, with an A-E-L, and she's fantastic. Odd way as angels go to show up, because I've had a Roman candle in my living room from Joy, pure pink light go up. more like out of Christmas Carol, Scrooge, the animated version. And then she popped through the floor and went through the ceiling a second time and was like, ta-da! So when I say there are no limits in life, none of us have even scratched the surface. It's the point when I mention, like, if it's the Buddhist circle, or it's the Dan Millman crowd, or it's the spirituality crowd, or it's the scientific crowd, or the astrophysicist crowd. I'm going to run out of breath. The disclosure crowd. We have so many crowds that, in a way, the organization itself and all our group thinking and collective this hold back what we think we want to try to achieve. So the veil is very thin. You can call it the veil. Reality. You can have more reality. You can have your cake, eat it too. Own the bakery, distribute cakes worldwide, own the trucking fleet, own the airplane fleet, own the icing factory, have amazing happy employees. Every cake equals a smile with no calories. That is putting it the way it needs to be put. There are no limits. Get excited about this. You can have a book delivered to you. You can see the book cover, be given all the chapter titles. You can have it fleshed out by your muses, 3, 5, 7 angels, plus some family members, plus Buddha, Sai Baba, Einstein, who are here to help you write that book. I don't know. This is your life. You've got to live it. These are your choices to be or not to be. I haven't had Shakespeare join the crew. But go to my website. It's got photos of angels. It's got 97 testimonials. I've been a little slack this year doing too many shows, starting up my show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. I could use subscribers. Remember, people are awfully shy about this topic. There are people who, I get this all the time, a lot of males. They'll do the service. They'll be like, yeah, I don't mind giving you a testimonial. And then later they're like, whoa, people who need your service will just find it. You're good. I'm like, okay. You can't tell anybody anything, and that's exactly what I did in this video, so sorry about that, but not sorry at all. It's always bigger than we think it is because this is not about thinking. It's also always easier than we think it is because, again, this isn't about thinking. And it's far bigger than we're ever going to understand because this isn't about grasping. And that's where I'm super excited for some of those well-known folks down the road. It could be an actor, but it could be one of those people seeking, doing discoveries, very legitimate discoveries and very good service for mankind. But the second a person wants to just go straight for the jugular, and I mean that in a polite way, and get their answers, they can see who they're talking to. Sai Baba, if you're from India, you'll love this. If you're love Jesus, you can meet Jesus, chat with Jesus. Sometimes those figures can be the hardest for a person. They can meet 20 angels, they can meet Einstein, they can meet Gandhi, they can meet Dolne Fritcher, Geronimo, Crazy Horse, White Buffalo, Calf Woman, but they get to Sai Baba. That's their Hank Aaron, their Lou Gehrig. I don't know my baseball players. That's their biggest figure. That's who they're really there to meet. And then they get in their head, because it's so big and they've made so much out of it, that's the one time they can't see, or they only see a little bit of light coming through. They've gotten answers, they've gotten hugs, but they go to see and they're expecting so much, they get in their own way again. So you're much more, I don't like the word powerful, you're much more capable, you're much more open than you would ever give yourself credit for. You're much more amazing than you'd ever give yourself credit for. So instead of just asking about life, career, health, relationships, how to have more fun, where to go on vacation, why not get some compliments from angels? Why not just ask, well, hey, I don't even know what to ask for. Can you guys make it nice? Can you give me signs? You don't have to trust that you're going to be able to hear. In fact, don't try to listen. Don't try to get hugs. Don't try to see. Just ask for some unmistakable signs to lighten up. To let go of the age-old burden of self-importance and woe is me, and this is my fixed problem. It's real. It's finances. It's health. It's Christ. I don't even know what love is. I can't love. I don't have a heart. I feel like I've heard it all now in 12 years, and it's perfectly legitimate. That's the way we're flowing our energy. So you get a choice in every single second and moment on where you're going to put your focus, where you're going to flow your energy. It's a hot stove. This is the hot stove. This is away from the hot stove. Beautiful sunny afternoon, 70 degrees, San Diego-like weather. You've got flip-flops on, you've taken them off, you're stretched out on the grass, catching some sun. You've got no cares, no concern. That's here. Hot stove, putting your hand on a red hot burner, can be up here. As soon as you learn the difference between awareness, consciousness, unconditional love, more compassion, humor, joy, enthusiasm, creativity, all the good stuff in life where you're actually, the meter is on and you're living. You'll get a chance after your last breath to figure out when you were down here and when you're up here. This is predominantly a waste of energy. It's fear-based, it's stress, it's worry, it's knowledge, it's power, it's seeking, it's controlling others, controlling yourself, limiting others, limiting yourself. Welcome to humanity, the human condition. As soon as you learn the difference between the two flows, welcome to Star Wars, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Jedi, Sith, whatever you want to call it. And that's pretty harsh. So take that with a grain of salt, let it go. But in a way, it's not. And that's where tons of religions, tons of cultural, indigenous, and other thinking has run with that so that it can feel scary. We do judging. We do tons of judging. We do tons of self-worth stuff, or I'm not worthy, or guilt, fear, worry, stress, doubt, whatever. We do tons of limiting. It's going to happen again. Even if you met 100 figures and got 100 pages of answers and got 100 hours of healing and saw rainbow light everywhere, saw your relatives, chatted with them, you're still going to have moments of ebb and flow. Welcome to the human condition. So try to give yourself a break. Try to lighten up about this. It's really easy to do, and I'm here to just say I've seen so many people in groups, two sisters who are getting along. They each own it individually, and then they get to joint see, joint feel, joint hear. Meet Geronimo. He's wonderful. So much flavor to him. Look at his photo, the older Geronimo, on my website. Listen, I put up tons of YouTube shorts where you get a chance. Hit pause on that. That's the secret to those 4-second clips. But hit pause and talk to Geronimo. Listen. Ask for a good feeling. Ask for a smell. Close your eyes. Get a vision. There's a million ways to do these interactions. We've only scratched the surface. Get a tip on where to go for a cup of coffee, good cup of tea, where to go for dinner, how to relax this weekend. You don't have to use a photo. Again, there were 70 baby steps in this whole act of ultimately letting go, to be in the moment, one with the universe. Kind of making fun of myself here, but one act of letting go could be 35 of those steps. Did you catch the sage when I'm blowing it to you? Remember, the only person who's limiting yourself is you. So here's your blanket, get out of jail card for free. Don't view it that way. But angels help me out of my head, into my heart, to catch that sage smoke smell or flowers, as Mike is lighting sage on the video, even if it's from 2 years ago, and this is 2 years in the future, and you're in Zimbabwe right now watching the video. It doesn't matter where you are on the earth. Time and space isn't quite what we think it is. Think of your professor class back in high school or college, or your master's or your PhD. A good teacher or a super boring teacher, that 1 hour felt like 2 hours. That 1 hour went by in 15 minutes. You couldn't get enough, and you're back early the next time there's a class. Time can stretch. Time can go fast. It can go slow. Think of the movie Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. They show you an incredible visual on how to view how all moments are really the same. And all moments really can be the same. You can be more joy, more happiness, more at peace, inner calm, tranquility. How many more words do I have to use? But that's the beauty about angels. They have infinite patience. There's an angel named Lucy who's patience. There's an angel named Claire who's resilience. She's one of my dog's guardian angels. You can get all the help in the world of peeling back the layers of varnish to get to the real wood, or peeling back the layers of the onion. Do you want to be an onion? Okay. To peel back the layers of the onion to get more to your core. Your core is love. You didn't come here to be stress, fear, lack, finances this, job that, health this, health that. You came here to actually be more loved, to shine. So there's always someone you know from your past, or at the party, or the pool party, or the cocktail party, who their eyes, they shine, they're connected to all, they're just walking like grace. You can meet an angel named Grace, who's grace. You can meet a harmony, who's harmony. You can meet a faith, a hope. It's self-explanatory. You can meet a Presley. She wrote in on Elvis Presley movies. I'm not a big fan of Elvis Presley. I'll watch Blue Hawaii. I love film. I can't get enough of American and European film, whether back to the 1940s. But so Elvis Presley was popping up all the time. And it was sort of a pre-breaking me in that another angel was coming in. And she said, call me Presley. It doesn't matter how you spell it. Now, here's why I've got to explain what she does for folks, or her background, or her makeup. I don't even know how to describe this, but angels can have character and personality, and they'll give us some of that tailored for us to help us out, so we don't have to try to grasp too much. They're so bright and light. But she's the interconnectedness of all. Now, if you're Harmony and you pick the name Harmony, it makes sense. Faith is faith, hope is hope, joy is joy. But you're a little screwed with the interconnectedness of all. So it makes sense she picked a very unique name, Presley. Pretty cool. Check out the Little Listening to Angels book. Again, on Amazon, it's $4.99. Super easy read. Anita Morjani, I'd love to invite her on the show. I keep forgetting to do that. I'll get to it by November. She has written a book review, a gorgeous book review. Thank you, Anita, again. I've thanked her before on these types of tapings. Yes, she's written a review. I think it has mostly 4 or 5 star book reviews. I got a 1 star. That was a good learning lesson for me. Yeah, I gave 6.5 hours to someone for a 4-hour session. Did the best I could on that one. But you can't tell anybody anything, which is why I'm trying to do this video. I'm trying to tell something, that there's more possible, more love possible. But in any given situation, my job is not to tell anybody anything. I'm trying to be encouraging to help you tap what you've got, to do more feeling, more sensing, more hearing. But I try not to get into the referee, play-by-play, tell you anything, because it's so much more important you figure your own stuff out. That's where angels come from too, with this whole, do you even want to do this? Do you want to set your intent? And you can kind of have it both ways. Set your intent to just breathe more and be more patient, be more relaxed. You use your own adjectives or your own states of being that you would like to bring in, but put it to the universe. You don't have to look for a reaction or hear it. We're on it. We're getting to you on Tuesday, or yes, we're helping you. We heard you. It's acknowledged. You don't have to do that part. Just trust that the response is coming from the universe, and then own it a little more. Walk slower to your vehicle, a little less iPhone, a little more breathing, a little more enjoying the ride in the car, a little more touch a tree, see a flower, see a cloud. There's a million ways to let go. So there's a lot of psychics and mediums out there. They're all fantastic. Use them all, the legitimate ones. But that's not what I do. I'm psychic. I've said stuff. I'll pick up on stuff. Once in a while, I'll hear your answer while you're listening. I try to stay out of it, though, as much as possible these days, because it's like the bike analogy with a dad. Not that I'm a dad trying to teach anybody anything, but there are those, you go to learn as a 5-year-old, 8-year-old to learn to ride a bike. And there's certain parents that will get on the bike and 2 hours later, you've never touched the bike. And then there are those parents that have got the training wheels on and they're just like, no, get on the bike right now. It's like surfing. You're little, skiing. When you're little, you can surf or ski down the hill. And everyone's got the aptitude to actually pick this stuff up relatively quickly. Now, I'll throw myself under the bus. Learning stick shift driving. Oh my God, I was a disaster for a year. And it took a long time for me to learn stick shift. Driving, less of an issue, but just the stick shift. Had a finicky particular vehicle that just wanted to stall all the time. It was so frustrating. So look, this isn't about a human having to tell you anything. It's why I always say ditch the guru, ditch the author, ditch the expert, ditch the Zen master, ditch the meditation teacher and everything else. But I also say hire them, move on as soon as your lesson's been learned and you've got what you've got. If you need angels to come help you with that when it's time to move on, fantastic. But there's constant growth and expansion. So this isn't about the color of the robes you wear. This isn't about the instruction manual you've been handed. This isn't about that Diamond Sutra or this, principle, although you can get help from angels on any of that stuff as well. If you need a koan, I think I'm using a complex word here. If you need a koan explained to you, chat with Sai Baba, chat with Chogyam Trungpa, chat with Kuan Yin, chat with Buddha. You can get any assistance. Allow, ask, and receive. I say you deserve a town monument if you've got the guts to get to here, get out of all your resistance, all your structure, and what you know, to simply be in your heart, to connect to the universe, one with the universe, and to allow the universe to respond and come in. So back to the near-death experience crowd, you can not recreate the bad parts of the near-death experience, but the beautiful part. You can have heaven in this very moment, if you want to use that terminology. You can sit with angels with your eyes shut in a beautiful setting. It could be anything, on clouds, in India, at a desert oasis, in Hawaii. I love doing Hawaii for folks. A Tibetan mountaintop with a temple just out of sight along a path, that when you come into the temple, again, it's a little bit of Harry Potter, the school, Hogwarts or whatever, with all the candles. So many candles, big bells, whatever that's made out of, brass or something, with people on all sides. It's angels, it's your relatives. Your relatives are generally parked way back. If you're at a fire, it's like a ceremony in the Middle East. You can eat with angels, get instructed, just listen, ask questions. There's any way but sitting silent through the whole ceremony. But your relatives will be parked far enough back that you can see them wave hi, but they won't be a distraction. That can be a little bit of an attachment for folks. You can get a healing ceremony. That's between you, Native American chiefs, angels, light beings, your particular blend of guides on your cheerleading squad that are helping you. You can get assistance meeting and taming your ego. That ego can rise back up again a week later and you'll never talk to me again. And that's fine. You may have gotten everything you need too. How do I do this? You just have unlimited opportunity for growth. So if as soon as you learn something, you can let it go, that's even better. The whole "is that so" expression from, I think, Zen Buddhism. Yeah. So there are photos of angels. The photos can move, change color. There's a video of an angel or two. Joy, for the most part. I think one of them was Michael. I haven't gotten to that yet. But again, on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, please. Use all the little shorts and plenty of guests. Take these steps on air. I think this is totally missed in the show. Later in the show, angel photos get put up. You can listen, you can get a hug, you can smell in your room the ocean. Again, what will you allow for is the biggest question. There's a lot of ways to slice this. Just take whatever steps you can remember to take. And your strongest points of entry to your heart would be before bed and first thing in the morning. Just tell the universe hello, your angels. If you don't mind using the word angels, I've got photos of angels. I help people see angels, hear angels, get hugs from angels. I say angels exist. It's the second thing I'm telling you for sure today. Trust that they exist. Your answers, more and much more, will come. But you don't have to be too involved in the process. That can almost regenerate your ego and help draw this out into a 10-year never-ending story. Ego is always about spinning, never-ending story. You know something over here, so you'll never experience something over there. It's about locking you up tight, being in a river, but you're stuck at the eddy, spinning in front of a boulder. That's the perceived obstacle, health, crisis, this group of people, that group of people, this bit of knowledge, that bit of knowledge. It's about bigger than that. It's about breathing, allowing, living, having fun, sharing life force, universal love. Back to the last thing that I'm telling you is love is the fabric of the universe. How much are you allowing for love, sharing love, generating love, tapping into love? It's a constant, like the Force when Yoda talks in and around you. Go to Mind, Body, Spirit panel number 4. I did Yoda's voice on that one. Within you, around you it is, or something like that. No try, always try. Something like that. I did Yoda's voice. Okay, so there are Mind, Body, Spirit panels. Check those out. There's the show. There's the Listening to Angels book. My services for seeing auras. Meeting a single angel, meeting 3 angels, meeting 6 angels and 6 guides, and also just the full enchilada. I call that whisking or whisk service. Beautiful name when you look at the definitions of the terminology of whisk. Angels gave me that one. Charlotte, an angel, gave me that one. And then there's a new service for, you can grab 4 people. There's no refunds on that one, but it's $1,000 for 3 hours. So it's your absolutely best deal, but it's only for the confident. So let me go back to the beginning. I think I've got a 20-minute aura session. I think that's $100. You get to see light on your hands. It's consciousness itself. Even Joseph Campbell talks about that in The Power of Myth with Bill Moyers. I think consciousness is energy or something like that he said. It was brilliant.
no pun intended. But you get to see light. It's how you're flowing all the time to do anything. You're either doing the Darth Vader of, we'll call it red energy or black energy when you're doing judging. My neighbor's a jerk, or this politician's a jerk, or that party's a jerk, or I hate climate change, I love climate change, or this or that. I mean, we're throwing negativity around, even if it's 1% of 1% or neutral, it's still unlove. It's not love. Love is here. You'll know love because it's awfully hard to practice. Mother Teresa said, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. What an incredible concept. Almost tops, you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. So that alone is food for thought and will wreck your entire version of reality right now for no reason whatsoever. Yes. Okay, so there's the $100 session, auras for 20 minutes. I always go over. There's a one for shy folks who are not professional intuitives, who haven't done this before. Just meet one angel. I don't promise about the seeing part. I'll slip it in if it's possible. There's time. And it's not about getting all your answers. All the other sessions, everything I always do is to get you all your answers. Career, life, health, everything. It stays private with you. You hear it direct, all languages, all dialects, and just the way you need to hear it to be motivated and excited. But the second service is 40 minutes, one angel, just to check that your plumbing, electricity, you can hear and feel. I'll do seeing if we need to. And again, it's not about getting every answer. You'll get some answers, but it's about a confidence step of owning this. I think that's $200 for 40 minutes. Then there's a 1 hour session for 3 angels. I throw everything at you. You meet Joy, Charlotte, and Min. They meet you. They've already met you. You get beautiful interactions. You get your questions answered, you get hugs, you get to see. This is repeatable on your own. You essentially become a professional psychic if you want, or medium, or use the terminology you want. You're just tapping what you've got, all your senses, and more than just the way you view your senses. A 2 hour session is 12 figures. 6 angels, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel are in there. If you've done a prior session, I'll throw in extra angels so there's no redundancy. You'll still meet those angels again and reunite, but I'll throw in extra figures to make sure there's always something zippy and fun about it. Plus, you get to meet Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo, who are just so fantastic. Geronimo actually steals the show. If we want to get geeky, human about this, dorky, or keeping score, which is not the point of the exercise, Geronimo almost steals the show against all the figures out there. The big religious, non-religious figures, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, my parents, up on the shelf right there, the tiger, light beings, angels, Seth, you name it. Geronimo is seriously super popular. He's just incredible and very gentle. I think he's a kitten in the heart, but he's a tiger. That tiger and Geronimo are very much all action. They're on your team. You need to meet Geronimo if you're only going to do one step in the next week. Ask him for the smell of tobacco, sweetgrass, sage. Look at his photo on my website, the older photo. Really clear out of what you know. Trust that you've got the ability to drop to here. If you've ever played a sport, hit a tennis ball. If you've ever made a meal and enjoyed it, mowed the lawn and enjoyed it, done a business transaction, given a hug, and actually given a hug, not been thinking about your shopping list, actually listened to anybody in your lifetime, then you know how to drop to your heart. That's all this is being in the moment, being, to be or not to be. So Geronimo steals the show. But you can also meet Mother Teresa, Chogyam Trungpa, and Sai Baba from India. I always try to throw in a little extra, so yeah. Okay, and then there's a 3 hour session. It used to be 4, I've dropped it to 3. I used to have a 5 hour session, became 4, now it's 3. Yeah, you'll just see that on the website. There I throw the whole traditional whisk session at you. You do a ton of different exercises, you get your answers, how fast can you write? You get inspiration, you have experiences with your eyes open, your eyes closed. It's beautiful. Okay, so the last thing is I've added a new session that I just mentioned. You grab 4 people. You have to be firm on the date. You have to be able to commit as a group. But I do 4 people at once. It's the most economical. It's $250 a piece for 3 hours. It's the best deal you'll ever get for this much experiencing. I don't know what to call it, spirituality, new age, energy, the Force, Star Wars, Jedi stuff, intuitive skill set building, awareness expansion, consciousness expansion. It's a lot. Even the guests on the shows, even if they're professional healers, can write that they've had their consciousness expanded the next day. They write, oh my God, I had to take a nap afterwards. And that's on my website, a written testimonial from a fantastic woman in Atlanta who does a lot of good for a lot of other people. It's not me causing you to yawn, cry, feel like your consciousness got expanded. Don't shoot the messenger. It happens all the time. Look at my 1-star Amazon book review. But it's just angels doing their thing. Compassion's a constant. Love's a constant. Openness is a constant. And yet all we do, we stay shut tight like an oyster or a hermit crab. We want to resist everything, judge everything. We're over here. Other people are over there. That's the name of the game of the human condition. But there's a much more gentle approach that is available anytime you wish to simply look up from your shoe tips and look up at the blue sky, look at yourself in a mirror, tell yourself you love yourself. Go to a mirror. You might have to have a whiskey, a cigar, or just a pillow ready to take a nap afterwards. But tell yourself, I love you in the mirror. When was the last time you've done that? And say it, not once, but 10 times, 50 times, 200 times like a mantra until you're either crying, laughing hysterically, or you've connected to your soul. I help people see their soul. It's northern lights in the sky. It needs to be daytime, generally speaking. Probably doesn't now that I said that, but you can see light in the sky like an aurora borealis. There's a bigger you. Okay, I'm out of energy on this. I appreciate your patience on this. Thank you so much. If you could like this, share it, put a comment down about your favorite expression. Check out some of the shows. Be patient with the shows. Play it in the background. Listen to it once, one way. But know that people are taking steps to get their answers, to get hugs on air. You'll see a guest yawn. You'll see them react and say, oh my, I'm getting a flower smell or an ocean smell right now. You can ask for a Hawaiian ocean smell to come to you. If you know what that smells like already, or you just always wondered what it would be like to go to an exotic, beautiful place, there's really no limits. And we're not used to no limits. We're not used to having any answer to any question. In fact, that escapes our ego, psyche, our limiting negativities side. The concept of its reason for being is to control everything and to judge everything and to be mean to people, or to put limiting labels on people, or to say these are bad people that break the law and I'm a good person, and to do contrast. It doesn't see everything as one. So when you judge another person, you're actually throwing the negativity on yourself. Wayne Dyer has a beautiful quote. You judge others, you're doing nothing but really limiting yourself, and you're limiting your love flow or your connection to the universe. So let's use Scrooge as a last parting thought here. It's a 79-page book. It's absolutely brilliant. Charles Dickens was on top of it. But Scrooge at the beginning of the book was a filament, dental floss connection to the universe. He was this much love, and the rest was about money and limits and being mean and tons of negativity. Nobody likes Scrooge. It's the only way we remember him. It's why we call him Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge. But we forget that he's the biggest joy bringer 79 pages later. He's the best businessman. He's the best charitable giver. He absolutely yells across the street to a complete stranger and perks them up and wakes them out of their own reality and shoots light across the street, consciousness flow. You can experience that in any small town. If you're lit up, people will go out of their way and even cross the street to open the door for you. Or a complete stranger or somebody you know who would never say hi pops up and they don't even know why they're saying good morning to you. There's something about this. 1 + 1 = 11 equals 111 equals 1,111. Keep going. But that's what's so beautiful. In a 30-second dream, 30 seconds of our time that felt like forever for Scrooge goes to Christmas past, present, future, voila. Except now angels, and a lot gentler than that. You don't have to be scared out of your wits. Although, why do you think car accidents, health crises, divorces, and everything else come your way? Rocky, rocky times. The bank account reads $50. Love is what allows us to take all this contrast and to appreciate it, to allow for more love, to share more love, to be more love. That's the lesson for us all. And so let's do Ben Stiller, the Heartbreak Kid, the Cisco Kid, whatever the beach movie was that was a comedy. He says, love, 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 love. And that truly is what this is about. Love, 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 love more, allow more. Let angels guide you in getting you back to your heart, where you were at some point in your life, or every other month in your life, or every other day, or just yesterday, or what you are right now. But you can expand in that love. You can feel that vibe. Put a hand out right now. Close your eyes. Ask an angel to come in. And if you hear a ready, a laughter, a bell, angels singing, open your eyes. Look down and see a little bit of pink light from an angel named Joy. If you see that pink light, have a conversation or just bring her in for a hug and feel light waves of angelic joy energy flow through you. You'll absolutely peel with laughter on that one. Okay, this has been Michael Andre Ford, your angel intuitive, your American angel intuitive in San Antonio, Texas, signing off. Thank you very much. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this.